Before time began, before the stars were set in the sky or the oceans stirred, he was there. Jesus was not waiting to be born in Bethlehem or revealed on the cross. He was already speaking, already revealing who he truly was. In the realm beyond time, Jesus declared, "I am the Word," not merely a voice or a message, but the living force through which all creation came to be. His presence filled the void. His light shattered the darkness. Before there was earth or man, he was the Son, begotten, not made, forever dwelling in the embrace of the Father. He was the wisdom dancing at the dawn of creation, the joy that sang over the works of God's hands. And today, that eternal voice still calls to you. Can you hear him? Leave a comment below saying, "I hear you, Lord," and subscribe to Ancient Light for more revelations that will awaken your spirit. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Before the universe took shape, before light touched the formless void, Jesus existed not as a distant idea, but as the living Logos, the pulse of divine creativity. Through him, all things were made. Without him, not one thing came into being. When God spoke, it was not just sound, it was Jesus himself, the eternal expression of the Father's heart. His voice stirred the chaos, brought order to the swirling deep, and summoned the heavens and earth into being. Every galaxy, every atom, every breath in your chest carries the imprint of his voice. The Word was not passive, nor was it an afterthought. Jesus was the active agent of creation, weaving matter and spirit together into a masterpiece of divine love. Long before he entered a manger, he shaped the stars, commanded the seas, and breathed life into dust. John 1:4 tells us, "In him was life, and that life was the light of men." That means every living thing owes its pulse to him, but more than that, he is the light that pierces through the dark places of the soul, the shadows of fear, shame, and doubt that we carry. When you feel the tug of something beyond this world, when beauty stirs your heart or truth awakens your spirit, that is the echo of the Logos. It's the whisper of the one who has known you before you ever took your first breath. Even the heavens tell his story. Psalm 19 declares, "The heavens proclaim the glory of God, the skies display his craftsmanship." Creation itself is a testimony, a canvas painted by the Word who shaped it. And it's all inviting you to look beyond the seen into the unseen. But the most profound truth is this: the Word did not remain distant. The same Logos who spoke stars into existence stepped into his own creation. Jesus became flesh, walked among us, and let the Creator be touched, mocked, and crucified by the hands he had made. This means the voice that said, "Let there be light," is the same voice that calls your name today. It is the same Word that says, "Come to me, all you who are weary." His creative power is now at work to recreate hearts, heal wounds, and restore what has been lost. So when you hear about Jesus as the Word, remember this is not poetry or symbol alone. This is the living, breathing presence of God, moving through time and space, holding all things together, including you. He is the Word that was, is, and will be forevermore. Before time carved its first moment, Jesus was already the Son begotten, not made. He was not a creation among many, nor an angel elevated by favor. He was the radiance of the Father, the exact imprint of his nature, existing eternally in a love beyond human grasp. Colossians 1:15 tells us, "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation." This doesn't mean Jesus was the first created being. It means he holds rank and authority over all that exists, reigning supreme before the first Adam danced into form. The mystery deepens when we hear Jesus declare in John 8:58, "Before Abraham was, I am." With these words, he tore open the veil of time, revealing a presence untouched by age, unbound by chronology. He wasn't waiting to appear in history. He always was, and always will be. As the eternal Son, Jesus was the joy of the Father, the beloved in whom the Father's heart delighted. He was the treasure of heaven, and yet from eternity, he held within himself the mission to step into flesh, to redeem what would one day fall. Love was always his nature. Before the angels were summoned, before the earth was laid upon its foundations, the Son moved in perfect unity with the Father and the Spirit. This was not a distant, cold eternity. It was a divine communion, a dance of love that spilled over into creation itself. Jesus, as the eternal Son, was never merely an observer of history, but its author. The scroll of time unrolls from his hand, each chapter moving toward the moment when the Word would become flesh and walk among the dust of the world he crafted. To grasp this is to understand that Jesus is not a wise teacher alone, nor a martyr of noble cause. He is the Son who dwelt in glory long before the world existed, the one through whom all things hold together. Without him, existence itself would unravel. This sonship means that everything we call life is both held and defined by him. In him, the galaxies find their order, the seasons their rhythm, and human heights their true home. He is the center not only of creation, but of meaning itself. And this eternal Son did not remain in distant majesty. From eternity, his plan was love, to be born among us, to suffer with us, to bring us back to the Father. His sonship is not only his title, it is his bridge to us, a way opened that was prepared before time began. When you look at Jesus, you see the face of the one who knew you before the stars sang their first song. He is the Son, the Alpha and the Omega, the same yesterday, today, and forever, holding you even now in his everlasting arms. Long before the first sunrise, wisdom stood beside the Creator, rejoicing in the works of his hands. Proverbs 8 paints a breathtaking picture of this divine wisdom, laughing, dancing, and delighting as the foundations of the earth were laid. The early church saw in these verses a glimpse of Christ, the eternal Son, rejoicing with the Father. Jesus was not a silent onlooker in creation. He was the wisdom that shaped the universe, the architect of beauty and order. Every detail, from the flight of a sparrow to the spinning galaxies, was crafted through his joyful, masterful design. This divine wisdom is not cold intellect or detached brilliance. It is love expressed in creation, the artistry of a God who sings as he works, Christ's joy poured into the world, filling it with a harmony that we can still sense when we stand in awe before nature's grandeur. Even the boundaries of the sea, the heights of the mountains, and the depths of the earth were drawn by his wisdom. There is nothing accidental in the world around us. Each stone, each star, each human soul is marked by the intentional delight of Christ. When we look at creation's order, we are peering into the heart of the one who shaped it. Jesus, as wisdom, was both the melody and the musician, the composer and the song, weaving together heaven and earth in a masterpiece of divine love. Proverbs 8:30-31 tells us that wisdom rejoiced over the inhabited world and delighted in mankind. This was no distant amusement, it was deep, holy joy. Before you were formed, Christ was already rejoicing over you, delighting in the very thought of your existence. This means that the universe is not cold or indifferent. It is warm with the presence of its maker. His fingerprints are everywhere, and his laughter still echoes in the waves, in the wind, in the song of creation that surrounds us even now. To know Jesus as wisdom is to recognize that all true knowledge and understanding flow from him, apart from him. Human wisdom collapses into confusion, but in him, light breaks into darkness, and the tangled threads of life find their meaning. His wisdom is not hidden from us. Scripture says that Christ has become for us wisdom from God. When we seek him, we are not grasping at shadows, we are receiving the mind and heart of the one who ordered the stars and holds the universe together. So when you marvel at the beauty of creation or sense the pull toward something greater, know this: it is Christ, the wisdom of God, calling you to recognize him, the one who has been singing over you since before time began, before the sun blazed in the sky or the stars pierced the night. There was light eternal, uncreated, radiant. Jesus is that light, shining not just in the heavens but in the depths of the human soul. His light was not made, it was his essence, piercing through the void, awakening life where there was none. John 1:4-5 declares, "In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind." This light was never confined to distant galaxies. It was meant for us, for the broken, the searching, the weary. His light reaches into the darkest corners where human eyes cannot see. Darkness has tried again and again to extinguish this light, but it has never succeeded. The light of Christ is resilient, untouchable, victorious. It floods prisons of fear, it shatters chains of sin, and it chases away shadows that haunt the heart. When the world fell under the curse of sin, the light did not retreat. Instead, it moved closer, stepping into human history, clothing itself with flesh and bone. Jesus became the lamp in a dark world, the dawn that no night could hold back. The light of Christ is not just revelation, it is transformation. It does not simply expose, it heals. It does not only reveal our wounds, it binds them. His light reshapes us from the inside out, turning sorrow into joy, despair into hope, and death into life. In the presence of Jesus, light becomes a living encounter. We are not merely illuminated intellectually, we are set ablaze in the depths of our being. His light warms, comforts, and ignites a passion to walk out of darkness and into his marvelous truth. The ancient prophets foresaw this light. Isaiah cried out, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light." This was not mere metaphor. It was the announcement of a reality that would touch every heart willing to receive it, a light that could never be overcome. Even now, the light of Christ continues to shine. It enters hospital rooms, prison cells, lonely apartments, crowded streets. It speaks to the wounded, the hardened, the lost, offering something no human hand can give: the light of eternal life. This light is not dimmed by human weakness or failure. It does not flicker when our faith wavers. It is steadfast, blazing with the same intensity it carried before the world was born, a light that leads us home when all other lights go out. To walk with Christ is to walk in this light, to be pulled from the shadows into something wide and radiant. It is to discover that no matter how dark the night around us may seem, the dawn has already come, and his name is Jesus. Long before Eden's gates opened and the garden flourished, Jesus was the door. He was not a last-minute plan or a response to human failure. He was the way prepared from eternity, the threshold between God and man, between heaven and earth. In John 10:7-9, Jesus proclaims, "I am the door. Whoever enters through me will be saved." This was not just for his earthly listeners. It was an eternal declaration, echoing from before creation, waiting for the moment humanity would need the way back home. The door is more than an entry point. It is a symbol of safety, welcome, and belonging. Jesus stands as the door that invites the lost, the weary, the sinner into the Father's embrace. Through him, the barrier of separation is broken, and reconciliation flows freely. In ancient times, shepherds would lie across the entrance of the sheepfold, becoming the door themselves, keeping the sheep safe from harm. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, does the same, not merely providing a path, but becoming the living door that guards, guides, and protects. Even before Adam's first breath, the door of grace was set in place. God's plan of redemption was not improvised after the fall. It was woven into the fabric of creation. Jesus stood ready as the door through which love would restore what sin would shatter. To enter through Christ is to step into life, not as a temporary experience, but as a permanent reality. He offers pasture, rest, and peace, not fleeting pleasures, but the deep satisfaction of a soul finally home, no longer wandering in the wilderness. Every human heart longs for a door, an opening into something greater, something lasting. We seek it in success, in relationships, in ambition. But all these doors prove empty. Only Jesus, the eternal door, offers passage into the life we were made for. The narrow gate he describes in Matthew is not narrow because God is cruel, but because it is the one true path. It is narrow because it is real, because it is him, and though it costs surrender, it leads to the wide and open spaces of grace and freedom. Through this door, we find more than escape from sin. We find access to the Father's heart. We become part of his household, his family, citizens of a kingdom that cannot be shaken. It is the greatest crossing, from death to life, from exile to belonging. And so, long before the foundation of the world, Jesus stood as the door, waiting with arms open wide. He is the way into every promise of God, the opening into eternal joy, and the invitation that has never closed, even to this day. Before sin entered the world, before the serpent whispered in the garden, Jesus was already the Lamb. Revelation 13:8 calls him the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. His sacrifice was not a reaction to human failure. It was a divine plan set in motion before time itself. The Lamb was not weakness wrapped in flesh. He was strength veiled in humility. From eternity, Jesus chose to bear the wounds we would inflict, to carry the weight of a broken world on his shoulders. His love was not born on the cross, it was revealed there. Every Old Testament shadow pointed to him. The lambs offered on altars, the blood brushed on doorposts in Egypt. The sacrifices in the tabernacle all whispered of a lamb greater than any animal, a sacrifice that would break the curse of sin forever. In his choice to become the Lamb, Jesus embraced the cost of redemption. He did not come as a conqueror on a war horse, but as a servant, laying down his life willingly, pouring himself out so that we might be brought back into fellowship with God. This Lamb carries scars into eternity, not as marks of defeat, but as banners of victory. In heaven, he is still the Lamb standing as if slain, the one whose wounds have become the song of angels and the hope of the redeemed. Even in his silence before his accusers, the Lamb spoke volumes. He embodied the prophecy of Isaiah 53. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. His quiet surrender was a thunderous declaration of love. The Lamb reveals the heart of God like nothing else. He shows us that God's power is not about crushing enemies, but about absorbing pain, about defeating death not by force, but by offering himself to be broken and poured out for others. To stand before the Lamb is to stand before mercy itself. His blood speaks a better word than vengeance. It cries out forgiveness, redemption, and restoration. In him, guilt is erased, and the soul is washed clean, white as snow. The Lamb slain before the foundation of the world reminds us that God is never surprised by human failure. He prepared a way before the fall, before the rebellion, before the heartbreak. His love has always been one step ahead of our need. And so today, the Lamb still reigns not as a passive figure, but as the victorious Redeemer. His sacrifice echoes through the ages, calling every heart to come and be healed, to come and be made whole under the shelter of his unfailing love. Before the first breath of time, Jesus was already Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. He was not merely present at creation, he stood outside of it, holding every moment, every era, every life in his eternal hands. He is the one from whom all things flow and to whom all things return. To call Jesus Alpha is to declare that he is the source of all life. Before there were words or worlds, he was the origin. Every sunrise, every heartbeat, every first cry of a newborn is a faint echo of his creative voice, still resonating through the ages. As Omega, he is the grand fulfillment, the one who brings every story to its destined close. History is not spiraling toward chaos, it is moving toward Christ. He is the final word, the last note in the song of time, the completion of every longing woven into the human soul. Revelation 22:13 rings out, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." These are not just titles, they are the framework of all existence. In him, past, present, and future find their meaning, their rhythm, their ultimate purpose. To know Jesus as Alpha and Omega is to stand in the middle of life's uncertainties with confidence. The one who was there at the start will be there at the finish. He is the faithful witness, the anchor in storms, the rock that remains unshaken when all else fades away. Alpha means you were never an accident. You were birthed from divine intention, crafted with care and purpose. Omega means your journey is not aimless. There is a promised horizon, a day when every tear will be wiped away and all will be made new in him. Christ's being as Alpha and Omega assures us that time is not a prison, but a passage. We are moving toward restoration, toward a kingdom where justice, peace, and love reign in fullness. He is both the architect of the dawn and the keeper of the dusk. Even death bows before his authority as Omega. What appears to us as the end is, in his hands, the door to eternal life. He transforms graves into gardens, sorrow into dancing, and endings into glorious new beginnings. The Alpha and Omega does not merely watch from a distance. He walks beside us, guiding each step, sustaining each breath. His presence fills the journey with meaning, assuring us that we are never alone, never forgotten in the sweep of history. And so, from before the first star to beyond the last sunset, Jesus reigns. He is the first light, the last word, the eternal King whose love has no beginning and no end. In him, all things hold together, and in him, all things will be made complete. Before the world was formed, before the oceans roared or the mountains stood tall, Jesus already knew you. He was not a distant figure waiting to appear in history. He was the Eternal One, whispering his love through creation, preparing a way for you to come home. The voice that spoke light into being still speaks today. It calls through the noise of life, through the ache of the heart, through the wonder of beauty and the pull of truth. It is the voice of the one who has always been and who longs for you to know him. Jesus did not enter history as a stranger. He came as the fulfillment of eternity's promise. Every moment of his life on earth was the unveiling of what had been true from the beginning, that God is love, and that love has been reaching for you since before time began. To hear this truth is to be invited into something far greater than yourself. You are not a random accident, nor are you forgotten. You are part of an ancient, divine story, written in the heart of the Alpha and Omega, the Lamb, the light, the door, the word. If this speaks to your heart, comment below, "I choose to know you, Jesus," and don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Light for more revelations that will awaken your soul and draw you closer to the one who has loved you from before the foundation of the world.